Welcome back to Twin Tarot. I'm Gary, and this is not David. you know, um, I heard on the news today that a protester was shot and killed by ICE agents in Minneapolis today. Um, the White House's official story is that this person was was doing an act of domestic terrorism. Um, they basically they said that the driver of the car was shot while attempting to kill or cause bodily harm to the ICE officer. The person driving the car is Renee Nicole Good. She's 37 years old, resident of Minneapolis. So I was busy at work today. In my job, as we get closer and closer to April, my job gets busier and busier. So I really didn't have a lot of time to go check out what was going on. So when I was getting ready to decide if I was going to do a video or not, and if I was, what was I going to talk about? I saw the headline on this. I thought, oh, I have some time to read a little more about what was going on. So I guess ICE is in Minneapolis, and there was a group of people that were protesting ICE being there, which they have the right to do. And this lady was, I guess, some people were blocking traffic with their vehicles, and I don't know if she was intending to do that. There's not enough of the video clip to the run up for me to ascertain whether she was purposely trying to block traffic or if she was just simply trying to maneuver her car. But let's just, for the sake of argument, let's say she was protesting and she was using her vehicle to block traffic. The ICE agents start approaching the car, and as they're approaching, you can see that this woman puts her car in reverse. It's an SUV. She puts in reverse, and as she's starting to reverse to basically beat it out of there, one of the ICE agents grabs the door handle, and her door's locked. Okay. Another ICE agent was in front of her car, and as she's making a right turn, and she wasn't going fast. It's not like she was burning rubber and full throttle. She was going like 3 to 5 miles an hour. It was like parking lot speed. Like if you were pulling out of a parking spot and then moving forward. There was no aggressive driving going on here. The officer that was in front of her vehicle was very easily stepped aside from the vehicle. Certainly the vehicle was moving in his direction, but once again, it wasn't like she was going 30 miles an hour and he had to dive out of the way. It was just a quick, a reasonably quick sidestep, and he was free and clear. He was no longer in danger. But at that point, he fired a few shots through the driver's side window, not the front windshield, the driver's side window. Okay. This was not a vehicle that was pointing towards him and he pulls out a gun and shoots through the windshield. He had already sidestepped the car. The lady was driving away. Like I said, she was going well under 10 if she was going 5. And he put at least 2 or 3 rounds through the driver's side window. Killed her. Tim Walz is like, I'm not believing the propaganda machine that's coming out from Kristi Noem. The state attorney general, Keith Ellison, released a statement in which he wrote, "There's a lot we don't know at this time," which is true. That's a very responsible statement. He added, though, anyone who broke the law as a part of the incident will be held accountable. We shall see. Obviously, I have an opinion on this. I didn't have an opinion until I saw the video. And as someone who would consider themselves to be a reasonable person, um, that officer that fired those shots is in a heap of trouble, in my opinion. Um, his life was not being threatened. There was no threat of immediate body harm or death to him. Quite the opposite. He was probably in the safest place he could be, because there was no way he could get hit by that vehicle unless she had some sort of Mach 5 type of option on the car where it could slide sideways, right? There was no way she could have hit him. The only way he was going to get bodily harm is if she stopped the car and kicked open her driver door. That's the only way that guy was getting hit by anything. And he fired at least 2 or 3 shots through the driver window. It's time to hit the streets. Blind Squirrel, you are 100% right in your comments about getting out there and protesting. And it's almost like we shouldn't be waiting for an official protest. We should be out there now. Although when they're organized, it drives the point home. This is absolutely unacceptable. So I'm going to take a second because I'm really aggravated, and I'm just going to take a second, and I'll be right back, and we'll finish this up. Or I guess we'll just start, right? All right, I'm back. I just take a couple deep breaths and sort of center myself again. I don't normally get too worked up by stuff, but this one really hit me. What ICE is doing is really unacceptable. And no one's calling him out. No one's putting a check on him. And I guess that's going to be one of the questions is, will someone finally put a check on them? But right now, the first question is, just give me the general energy on ICE and their actions, and what are we going to expect to see next? Entertainment purposes only. So the energy around ICE and their actions, and what can we expect to see next? Temperance calls for calm and detoxification. And Governor Walz already said, don't take the bait. Don't go out there and start violently protesting. So the leadership is telling everyone, calm down. It's time to relax, detox. Take a minute here. Do like I did. Take a couple deep breaths and center yourself. The challenge is someone died. The actions of ICE have killed somebody. Energy underneath is the Queen of Cups. We are not happy about what's happening. We have been patient. We have been trying to check our emotions. It's very difficult when you see something so unjust happening. Just the ICE raids themselves are unjust. But what this officer did was completely uncalled for. He was in no immediate danger of death or grievous bodily harm. In the past, you got the Emperor. This is just Trump pushing forth his Project 2025 agenda. Get rid of all the brown people. Anyone doesn't look like they came from Sweden, let's get them out of here. Because Trump has a type. And that type is pretty much Scandinavian. No offense to the Scandinavians, beautiful people. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying anything other than Trump has a type, and if you don't look like Trump's type, he doesn't want you here. Current energy. 5 of Swords. I could take that 2 ways. So the 5 of Swords is kind of like knowing when to fight, knowing when to not fight. And I guess with the Temperance is kind of cautioning people, we do need to fight, but make sure we're fighting the right way and the right people. This is also kind of a lesson to be learned type of a thing, where ICE needs to understand, the officers of ICE need to understand when should they be fighting and when should they be pulling back. This is a situation where they weren't in danger. They should have retreated. I mean, seriously, if this person got away, if this person was allowed to just simply drive away, what danger to society was this posing? None. Answer, none. They were just out to make a point. And the point is, we have the swords and we're going to use them, even if you're walking away. It's kind of like the old Western, don't shoot him in the back. That was the classic shooting the person in the back. And it wasn't the bad guy, it was the good guy that got shot in the back. Someone who was exercising her right to protest, peacefully protest. Overarching energy is the Eight of Pentacles. There's a lot of things we're going to need to fix. But I think right now it's what I'm getting out on this is we've got a lot of work to do. Get ready, gather up your resources, because when the time comes for us to move, when the time is we're supposed to move, have your ducks in a row, because we're going to get moving. Right now, it's kind of the fisher cut bait. We're still kind of in the cut bait, but I'm so ready to go fishing. Lesson to be learned, Ten of Swords. We're at the bottom of the barrel right now. ICE's actions cannot get any worse than they are. And the lesson to be learned is they can't hurt us anymore. And that we need to put an end to this. This is probably one of those George Floyd moments, right? Where it's we need to say enough. We are not going to put up with this any longer. Stand by just a second. Sorry, I just took a quick pause there. I wanted to watch that video one more time. The ICE agents had their lower half of their face covered. You could say it was because of the weather, I suppose. It was snowy out there. But, it's, once again, facials partially covered. It looked like what was happening was the lady that got killed was in her car. She had stopped and she had let a car pass in front of her vehicle. A police unit pulled up. They were in a Nissan pickup truck, and a couple officers got out of the car, and they started telling her to get out of the car, get out of the car. And she put the car in reverse. Her window was down. The driver's side window was down. Officer tried to open the door. It was locked. So he started to reach in the car to unlock it from, the inside. And this lady pulled forward and made a right turn. As she's making the right turn, there's an officer in front of her. He steps to the side and he shoots. The first shot may have been through the windshield. If it was more like that A-pillar, that metal bar that's between the windshield and the driver window. It's more like he was aiming there, right? Once again, he was in no danger of getting hit. And she was not going fast at all. I mean, she's in a snowy street from a dead stop, and you could see that the car was not accelerating aggressively. And then he fired a couple more shots through the open window and killed her. So back to the reading. The lesson to be learned is we need to put an end to this. They have finally overstepped, and we need to put an end to it. And the outcome is the Queen of Pentacles. We need to take care of our citizens. We need to take care of our rights. We need to take care of what's going on in this country. This is a complete overreach and completely unacceptable. So that's the general energy around this. Trump and company, they're doubling down, of course, that, this was some crazed lefty loony that had Trump derangement syndrome probably, and was out to hurt and kill honorable, patriotic ICE police officers, or ICE officers. So I want to know what happens to the officers that were involved in this incident. Will they be held accountable? Depends. Wheel of Fortune is the foundation, not determined yet. As the future is wide open, to quote Tom Petty. Challenge is the Ten of Wands. That burden of proof that the officer knew that his actions were illegal and or that he it wasn't reasonable for him to fear for his life. That's going to be the challenge, because he'd just say, "Oh, I fear for my life," from someone driving 3 miles an hour. I had a situation where I was talking when I was working at the pizza restaurant. I was talking to the delivery driver, and he was getting ready to go on a run. And I was just chit chatting with him, and he put the car in reverse and he backed over my foot. It was a 1981 Chevy Chevette. I mean, it wasn't a big car. It hurt. But at no time did I feel like I was under grievous bodily harm or in danger of death. And that was about as dangerous as that situation that this officer was in. Just saying. I have a very flat right foot, though. Let's see. So will they face judgment or accountability for their actions? We will have to see how the Wheel of Fortune spins on this. You got the burden of proof. The energy underneath is the Page of Swords. The aggressive actions that were taken. Just the kind of the immature, youthful exuberance of taking out the enemy, right? I think in this case it's showing the reckless behavior is what the energy underneath it is. In the past, you had the Two of Cups. So will they be held accountable? This could be citizens and law enforcement working together, people working together, having understandings, and I guess this isn't the Lover's card. This is more transactional, just peaceful, cooperative transactions, people working together. Current energy temperance, calming things down, taking down the temperature in the room. Big picture stuff here. This is transactional. This is big picture. That's the current energy. Overarching energy, the King of Cups, being don't get caught up in the emotion of the moment. Watching the reckless behavior. So this is all about, this may be a calming moment that we have to come to a reckoning here as to how much, whether we're going to allow this to happen anymore. Lesson to be learned, Six of Swords. The efforts to basically get rid of immigrants is it's at a crossroads. It's hitting a lot of turbulent water, and maybe it's time to move on past this type of operation, these tactics that are being employed. Will they be held accountable? Judgment is the outcome. Well, it's definitely going to go to court. Whether it's a civil case or a criminal case, it's going to court. What will the judgment be? Tell us more about the judgment. I mean, this could be protests. This could be a court case. There's the Lover's card. So this is the big picture, learning how to live together, work together, be together. And it took someone's death in order for us to come together. You're supposed to start after the first major arcana. I just hit 2. I think what the judgment card here is, what we need to stand up for are, it's basically people's rights to, people's rights, and the relationships we have with our citizens and our rights. And we're watching these things get killed, and we need to put an end to the divisiveness that Trump and ICE are doing to our nation. So will they be held accountable? It sure seems like it's going to court one way or the other. It's just a question, will it be a civil case or will it be a criminal case? Certainly that woman's civil rights were violated in the most extreme way. And the question is, will that officer go to jail because of his actions? And we got the Wheel of Fortune, so we don't know yet. It's just simply we're not far enough along in the process. Will this be pivotal like George Floyd, where this will cause uh, a major shift in sentiment? Certainly, there's many people that already have shifted their sentiment. It didn't take too long for us, like us in California, Los Angeles, to completely shift our sentiment, um, because and for MAGA, because Trump told MAGA, "Hey, I'm going to get just rid of the criminals and the drug dealers and all the really bad people," and then they're starting to realize that no, actually, he's getting rid of the day laborers, people who just were in the wrong place at the wrong time, anyone who had a tattoo or had olive colored complexion, and they're starting to find out. So, will this be like a George Floyd moment where this changes the narrative? This changes everything. Temperance. Well, there you go. It's all about temperance. It's the it's kind of the balancing moment that actually fits well with that Ten of Swords, where we're putting it to an end. They've gone too far, and we need to reel them back in. They've their actions are greedy and selfish, and we need to be more balanced. The government needs it's the government has done overreach, and the government needs to fix this problem. The Basically, when I say the government, and this is going to sound crazy, but Kristi Noem and that whole agency, they need to back down. And I don't know how that happens. I don't know if that comes from Congress or what, but it's this is their fault. They've been ramping up the rhetoric. They've been supporting Trump and his selfish agenda, and we need to detox. And we need to take actions. To me, it's and there you go, Wheel of Fortune underneath it. So, will this be a George Floyd moment? There's going to be a calming down. People are going to recognize the selfish actions taken by the government, and it's time for us to take actions. And those actions will determine where we go forward. To me, this is a time for protesting moment. That's what I'm getting from these cards. We need to start showing our outrage. Break out the frog costumes, folks. It's time to get out there in the streets. All right, so sorry for the uplifting video there. It's so depressing to me what's happening here, and that there are Americans out there that think that this is acceptable and that this is a good idea. And I just don't get the mentality. How bad was your life where you think that this is okay? Seriously, how bad was your life? How bad was your upbringing? How bad was your life experience? And how much of that are you going to own? You made life choices too. No one's completely innocent. We all make choices, and you face the consequences of those choices. But man, to cheer this on, you must have had a really crappy life, and I feel bad for you if that's your attitude towards this. Anyways, rant over. Hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching. I want to give a shout out to Michelle, also known as Kentucky Belle. Hi, Michelle. Thank you so much for your kind contribution to the channel. Dave and I truly appreciate you. I hope you're having a great day. You are the star of this video. Sorry, I wish it was a more uplifting video. And folks, for the rest of us, Dave's been hitting the stop button kind of quick on me. So the last two videos, I think I was able to sneak a secret card for the rest of us in the video that came out today, which is today being Wednesday, the 7th of January. So here's the secret card today, Ten of Swords. We are not going to let them do any more of this. We're going to put this to an end. It's funny how certain cards just keep coming up. I had the Wheel of Fortune, Ten of Swords, and Temperance. Those are the three. I do have one more shout out to give. It's probably going to be a day early, and I'm only doing it a day early because I don't know that we're going to be recording anything tomorrow that's going to come out on Friday. And so for Tracy Rivers' fur baby Cinderella, who's going to be 13 years old. We're going to give you a secret card for your birthday on January the 9th. So it's going to be a day early. If for whatever reason we do record, I'll give you another shout out. But Cinderella, you get the Ace of Pentacles. Hopefully that is the biggest cat treat ever. Anyways, hope you have a great day, folks. Take care. Bye. Haha, double secret card. Magician, let's manifest a positive future. Take care, folks. Bye.